They left Cameroon many years ago to look for greener pastures. They studied and worked in renowned schools and companies across the world. However, they couldn't resist the urge to come back to their fatherland. In the heart of one of Yaoundé's most popular neighborhoods, a former Cameroonian diasporan has settled. Dr. Tata von Emmanuel left the country in 2006 to study abroad.
I left Cameroon after my studies at ENS. Actually, I was trained at ENS as a physics teacher, but because I didn't really feel fulfilled by just the teaching of physics, because I wanted to get to build things, to change things, and in order to do that, you need to get into engineering. So I decided to leave Cameroon after my education as a physics teacher to Ghana, where I went to study engineering. So I left Cameroon somewhere around 2006. Yeah, 2006, 2007. I went to Ghana. I studied marine engineering, and I won a scholarship from there to travel to the US. I studied engineering physics. I was actually on scholarship by the government of Ghana. I was given a scholarship. So after my studies at the University of Florida in Tampa, I moved back to Ghana, where I was given a job as a lecturer at the University of Education in Ghana. So I taught at the University of Education Ghana for 4 years. Given that I was still below 35, I was given the opportunity to do a full PhD, sponsored by another scholarship from the Chinese government. So I moved to China to do a PhD in machine building and agricultural value chain engineering.
Yaoundé, capital city of Cameroon, hosts a good number of diasporans who have come back home.
My name is Adrian Ayuk. Cameroonian from a family of 5. I studied in Germany, and that was around February 1996 that I moved to Germany. Studied there until I think 2002 when I graduated. Worked there for 2 years, then moved to England in 2004 because I found an opportunity there.
From Yaoundé to Douala, the heart of Cameroon's economy. Here, amidst the hustle and bustle, are some ex-diasporans that are making things happen.
J'ai grandi en France avec mes parents d'origine camerounaise qui nous ont toujours élevés avec les valeurs et la culture du Cameroun et plus particulièrement de l'Ouest où ils sont originaires. Donc très tôt, on a été très attirés toujours par le Cameroun pour connaître un peu d'où étaient nos racines et essayer de passer le plus de temps possible pendant les vacances et choses comme ça. J'ai étudié les ressources humaines tout d'abord et après j'ai décidé de faire un master mais de le faire dans un autre pays. Du coup, je suis partie aux États-Unis, mais j'ai complètement aussi changé du coup de matière. Donc, j'ai fait Bachelor in Merchandising and Marketing, que j'ai fait à New York. Et après ça, je suis revenue à Paris.
Monsieur Joël Sikam, président directeur général Fisco SARL.
I went abroad in 97. I was still in high school, what we call in French, j'étais encore au lycée, au collège. And I had a chance, the opportunity in France to go for sport and study. En France, c'était en Normandie, à Évreux, where I played a little bit basketball. And then after I finished in France in 2001, I went to the US. I schooled in New York the first two years, and then I moved to Dallas, Texas. And I graduated from the University of UNT, which is a North Texas University, and I got a degree in finance.
Buea is a town known for her picturesque beauty. This is where a Cameroonian medical professional from the US lives.
Sydney Tazay, I'm a radiation oncology physicist, trained in the United States. My main area of practice is in the diagnosis and treatment of patients with cancer. I went to school in California where I obtained a master's degree in radiation oncology, and I am board certified by the American Board of Radiology. My training started in Cameroon, where I went to the University of Buea with a bachelor's in physics, and then I further went to the USA, where I pursued higher degree in radiation oncology.
These former diasporans were successful in the countries where they studied and worked. However, they decided to come back to their fatherland.
I remember my bosses, which is Shea Armstrong. You can check him out. Mr. Shea he told me I was crazy, because already I was managing a fund that was back then it was $40 million fund, and I had like 11 guys within my team. And he would say, "Hey, where are you going? I check your country, and money-wise, there is nothing there." And he tried to convince me for like a month. And he said, "Okay, you know what? Since you're kind of eager to go, maybe you kind of feel homesick." He gave me, say, "You know what? I'm going to give you 6 months of leave." And 6 months of leave is like you can go for 6 months, and you get half of your salary. So he said, "Okay, go there, and I'm sure you're going to make up your mind." And every week he was calling me. Even I was just responding by email to any important file.
I spearheaded and created one of the biggest radiosurgery programs, which is a form of radiation therapy to treat people with cancer. My program is one of the biggest in the United States right now. When I was done with my training at my school, my next logical step was to come to Cameroon. And about that same time, there was a call from the president of the Republic of Cameroon, asking diasporans to come back to Cameroon and help in Cameroon and invest in Cameroon and give back to the community. So that call, the call I'm answering, it was like perfect timing.
I started having this strong urge to be of positive impact to the Cameroonian community. So because I begin to ask myself, every time I go to the internet, I see negative information about Cameroon. Every time I go to the internet, social media, I see negative information. Who is supposed to make that information to be positive? Who is supposed to? Because if all of us just focus on the negative information, if all of us just focus on looking at things that are going wrong, and nobody takes the responsibility of doing something right, so how are we ever going to have a country or a nation that is going right if we don't take responsibility? So I think I would like to take the risk. I didn't have money to really get to do what I really desire to do, but for some reason, I just believe it's possible. Yeah, I just believed it's possible. So I took that decision. It was difficult for me to actually leave because a lot of the university, China, they all wanted me to stay. They were giving me all sorts of flowery, conditions to keep me to stay. In fact, it even went to a point where they even frustrated me at the airport about twice, just to persuade me to stay. But I insisted that I was going to come back to Cameroon, and I came back.
Back in Cameroon, they now work in different domains.
Laquelle is a contemporary brand, we can say, made especially for Africans because of the choice of material we're going to use. We're using a lot of cotton, linen, which is adapted to our kind of weather, very hot, and also the colors as well, because we know as African we love to wear colors also, and also we need to adapt also our sizing to the morphology to the of African women, especially with the curves and everything, and also include all kind of size. That means we are doing from XS to at 3XL.
I have a software company. We build softwares, e-commerce systems. We are moving into training now to start training youths. Yeah, we do security systems. CCTV alarms and cyber security. Cambi, c'est une plateforme e-commerce que nous sommes en train de développer pour le Cameroun. Et ce n'est pas les plateformes e-commerce traditionnelles que nous avons vendre des choses. Nous voulons d'abord faire la promotion du secteur informel du Cameroun. Par exemple, une coiffeuse, elle ne vend rien, elle vend ses services.
The former diasporans have a passion for helping communities.
90% des maladies en Afrique sont les maladies liées à l'hygiène. Le palu, la typhoïde, le choléra, la dysenterie amibienne, toutes ces maladies-là, c'est des maladies liées à l'hygiène. Même le Covid, on disait de laver les mains, c'était autre chose. On disait wash your hands, clean your nose, don't cough in front of people. Donc beaucoup de maladies que nous avons dans le monde sont des maladies liées à l'hygiène. Et donc c'est pour ça qu'aujourd'hui, pour amour pour l'humanité, j'ai créé une gamme de produits qui répondent à ces problématiques-là. À partir de 2014, quand j'avais déjà découvert cette niche de fabriquer des produits d'entretien, j'avais déjà la marque, même bien avant, parce que j'ai toujours voulu impacter l'écosystème dans lequel je vivais. J'avais déjà la marque. Aujourd'hui, la marque est Simad, c'est le nom de ma mère. Oui, Simad, c'est Sika Madeleine. C'est ça que j'ai choisi d'arbre. Donc j'avais déjà la marque. On a enregistré à l'OAPI. Pour 25-30 ans, on a commencé très petit, à petite taille. Et ça, c'est toujours ce que je donne comme conseil aux jeunes entrepreneurs aujourd'hui, de toujours commencer à petite taille.
AfroBrains Cameroon is an initiative that is involved in the transformation of agricultural crops. We build machines, food-grade machines, and then we use some of these machines to do transformation of agricultural crops. The whole concept is about the multi-product food transformation. You see, because we noticed that in sub-Saharan Africa, most of the factories that are set up in sub-Saharan Africa end up having issues of raw material shortage, and this is because much of the agriculture, the food cultivation in sub-Saharan Africa is still dependent on seasons. So we need a solution whereby we can still depend on seasons, but do not have problems with raw materials. Because the dependence on seasons is making it in such a way that when you set up a factory, for example, the Sangmilima factory, cassava factory, you'll notice that if you do the calculation, the land that was allocated for that factory was 150 hectares. And the capacity of production of that factory is 120 tons per day. If you would calculate the time that will be taken to transform all the cassava that will come out of 150 hectares, it will take 43 days. So that alone kind of reveals the fundamental challenge that exists across sub-Saharan Africa. A lot of factories have been set up and they've run short of raw materials. Why? Because of the dependence on seasons. So across sub-Saharan Africa, there's a need for a solution whereby people can still depend on seasons without trying to, because what we end up doing is that we continue to modify the genetic nature of the crops such that they can do well at off seasons. But that is an unhealthy and non-sustainable way of solving the problem. The sustainable way is what AfroBrains is implementing, the multi-product food transformation model. So what we do is that we optimize a factory such that it can transform multiple raw materials. In this way, the factory can run throughout the year. And when it starts with corn, for example, if it's transforming corn, when corn is off season, it can transform plantains. When plantains is off season, it can transform cocoyams. So you notice in this case that we succeed in closing up the ideal period of the factories, and the factory can run sustainably. So that is the concept. But within this concept, of course, we are developing technologies that are optimized to meet our farmers, our local population's need, like building machines that are adapted to their environment, using the energy that they have available.
In their country of origin, working and integrating into a society they left dozens of years ago is no walk in the park.
There is also the lack of skills in our students who graduate from the universities, but that is something that we can address by organizing in-house training, so we can handle that. But the problem of financing is what keeps us small for a very long time. You know that when a startup company is small for a very long time, it makes it very difficult for this startup company to be able to feed its market, because we're running advertisements. As time is going on, people are getting to know more about the company. It happens organically because we have a Facebook page, we have a website. So once you launch a website, once you have a Facebook page, people begin to get to know the number of friends or the number of likes and the number of shares organically grow. So with that normal organic growth in the market, it will expect that the company should also grow in its capacity to satisfy its market. But the problem we are facing is that our market is growing, but our capacity to produce is not growing to feed the market. We have people ordering products from abroad in containers, in tons, but we cannot accept to sign those contracts. Why? Because we do not have the capacity to meet up with that.
Professionally, the first challenge is knowing what to do, because what you build there is not ready for the Cameroonian market. And the method of payment, there is easy if you have a contract to get paid. It's easy. Yeah, it's complicated. Yeah, and you first have to find out what is good for the Cameroonian market. What softwares can I build for the Cameroonian market? So the first years then came COVID. COVID changed a lot of things, because my first software here were school system and a hospital system. But after COVID, I had to change. The main challenge for diasporas is learning how Cameroon functions. To do business here, you first have to study the Cameroonian, how the mentality here works. You make so many errors, like I made errors. So you need like a year or two to first study Cameroon before you actually start doing what you want to do.
On a des marques et des produits qui viennent de l'extérieur. C'est normal, l'économie camerounaise est à 70% import-export. Donc aujourd'hui, l'industrialisation n'est pas mise en place. On parle d'import-substitution, on parle de champions nationaux, on parle de Made in Cameroun, mais ce n'est pas encore proprement dit, parce que c'est des idées, selon moi, qui sont initiées et prises par des non-acteurs du domaine. Et comme je disais tout à l'heure, le gouvernement doit créer un écosystème et le secteur privé doit créer de la valeur. Donc aujourd'hui, comme je dis toujours, j'ai une vingtaine de collaborateurs, mais si je devais faire les mêmes produits et importer, j'aurais seulement besoin de 4 personnes. Mon chauffeur-livreur, mon comptable et mon magasinier. Mais aujourd'hui, on a toute une chaîne de production qui est en plein moins mécanisée. Et aujourd'hui, les difficultés, il n'y a pas de subvention, il n'y a pas de financement, les devises, tous ces problèmes-là, c'est des trucs que nous rencontrons tous les jours. Vous voyez, je vous prends un exemple. Moi, je paie mes fournisseurs cash la plupart du temps. Quand vous commandez un truc, vous commandez en cash. Mais ici, en local, les clients vous payent à 60 jours. Donc, vous faites comment sur ce gap-là? Et les taux d'intérêt des banques sont souvent exagérés. La vision industrielle, même vos collaborateurs, ils ne comprennent pas.
Despite the challenges, these Cameroonians are determined to bring positive change to a country whose cuisine they relish.
We also work with the local doctors, the local communities. Patients come to us and they consult with us for other medical conditions, not just for cancer. We'll diagnose people with ovarian cysts and abdominal cysts. If you have motor vehicle accidents with acute injuries, we are there for them. And when we're also out there in the communities, reaching out to the local communities, going out to the villages, to the churches, and talking to people about their overall health, staying healthy, staying active. Because the best way to fight off any cancer or any kind of disease is to stay healthy. So Claire is there to advocate for that.
When you walk, young people look at you and they admire you. So you are actually showing that there's another way of making a living. Yes, I studied in Europe, but you could also gain from people back here.
Swiss Sacks! Money for my hustle. If I don't get enough, I go walk till Stanley, Enow. One man army on a journey. From Bafusam to New York City, yo.
Most of the time in June, August, I don't travel because it's corn and plums. Yes, and that's during that season, I do that every day.
Ben moi j'aime tout ce qui est braisé. Alors le poisson braisé, ça c'est ce que je pense que j'aime le plus. Et après c'est le coquille.
Quand mon Dieu va parler, tout le monde va se calmer. Quand papa va parler, tout le monde va se calmer. Je peux tout traverser, mais je n'aurai pas honte. Jamais la honte, non, jamais la honte.
These Cameroonians have settled back in the country, and they are calling on others in the diaspora to do the same.
Il faut être conscient des réalités, il faut être conscient des challenges, il faut se dire que ça ne va pas forcément être facile. En Europe ou ailleurs, des fois, on est peut-être habitué à un certain confort, métro, boulot, dodo. Ici, ce n'est pas du tout ça. Ici, il n'y a aucun jour qui ressemble à un autre. Donc oui, il faudra un peu d'énergie, il faut de la patience. Quand je dis la patience, c'est même au niveau des nerfs, parce qu'on ne va pas forcément rencontrer des personnes ou des institutions qui vont nous faciliter l'accès. Mais voilà, il faut être tenace, il faut être persistant et travailler et croire en ce qu'on fait. À un moment donné, ça finira bien par aller.
What I can tell Cameroonians in the diaspora is for them to believe in Cameroon, because I've traveled in so many countries, and the potentials I see in Cameroon I haven't seen anywhere else. Cultivation is like printing money. When you plant a grain of corn and several other grains come out, that's an indirect way of printing money. So they should look at it from that perspective. There are challenges, of course, but there are several ways they can come back home. They can come and start by working with people who already are on the ground and see how together they can grow. Because when they come with the competencies that they have from abroad, they can add value to what is already on the ground. The people who are on the ground, they also have certain competencies. So it is by working in a team that I believe that Cameroonians can succeed.
Coming back means progress for Cameroon.
The Cameroon economy is growing. It's growing every day. It's growing every day. So yes, you can come back and work in Cameroon and set up business in Cameroon. Just remember to be persistent and keep pushful, be pushful, and you are guaranteed, I almost guarantee you, if you stay the course, you're going to be successful, because Cameroon is a growing economy. It's actually a hidden gem. For those who don't know about this, you're going to miss out in West Africa, which is growing at a rapid rate. One of the fastest growing economies in the world in Africa. So when you come here and you stay the course, your success is guaranteed.
They have to understand. Whatever they have seen working in Germany, working in Paris, working in the US, Cameroon is not those places. So we have to, because sometimes I see a lot of young guys, young lady coming, oh, I have this project, I saw it in Frankfurt, it's working perfectly, I'm going to implement the same thing here, it's going to work. It's not possible. Tell me one thing, if you go to Yaoundé one day and you stop to see Macaro Brésil, is it going to be Yaoundé? Exactly, you see? But you have to make sure that we don't have to change things. We just have to rearrange and to reinvent. And that's most of the time what I tell to my people abroad. I'm in a lot of group with diaspora and everything. And always when they ask me my Serbian, when they come to Cameroon and want to talk to me, I always tell them, whatever idea you have to go, you have just to make sure one thing, you have to adapt it to Cameroon. Because, exactly, to our content. Because clothes you have there in the winter cannot fit here. You know it. So why in the business area, in the business aspect, you cannot think the same way? You see? Things that work there sometimes just need a little switch, a little adaptation to make sure it works here. And who's going to develop your country? Do you know one country in the world that was developed by foreigners? Exactly. So whatever we're going to do, we're going to run away, but we have to make sure that home is where things must be done.
A software engineer, an entrepreneur, a medical specialist, a manager, and an agricultural value chain expert. These former diasporans have exceptional love for their country, Cameroon.
We proud of who we are.